Hello everyone, welcome to Express News. We give you top 100 news of the day. Let's get started. India's Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan has praised the performance of Made in India drones and counter-drone systems of the military in Operation Sindoor. Speaking at a workshop and exhibition on indigenously designed UAVs and CUAS in New Delhi, CDS General Chauhan underlined the success of Operation Sindoor as a testimony of Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliance in defence. The Financial Action Task Force warns of risks in the digitalizing world where money can fund terrorism, conceal illicit gains or threaten global peace. FATF collaborates globally to safeguard financial systems against these threats. India received its second GE 404 engine from the US for LCA Mark 1A Tejas jets, boosting indigenous air power. Hindustan Aeronautics will integrate it, expecting 12 more by March 2026. The Indian Air Force ordered 83 jets. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh hailed the milestone on social media, underscoring India's growing self-reliance in aerospace. Government calls a meeting ahead of the upcoming monsoon session of Parliament, scheduled to begin on July 21 and conclude on August 21, is expected to see the introduction and passage of several significant bills in the Lok Sabha. Meanwhile, the Indian Embassy in Iran has issued an advisory to its citizens on Wednesday, advising them to avoid travelling to Iran. This notice comes amid a heightened security situation that has been developing in the country for several weeks now. The Unique Identification Authority of India, UIDAI, has urged parents and guardians to complete mandatory biometric update for children aged 7 and above. Indian Council of Agricultural Research is celebrating its 97th Foundation Day on 16th of July. ICAR was established on this day in 1929 with the objective of conducting research in agriculture, animal husbandry, dairy, fisheries and related technologies. A house in Bangladesh linked to 3 generations of Bengal's most respected literary and cultural figures is being demolished, drawing sharp concern from the Indian government. The Indian government stepped in and volunteered to help in repair and reconstruction of the property of Satyajit Ray. In a statement, the Ministry of External Affairs reminded the interim government of the iconic status of Rays in the shared cultural history of the subcontinent. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs also expressed regret over the demolition, noting that the house is a landmark tied closely to the Bangla cultural renaissance. The man who allegedly rammed his car into 114-year-old marathon runner Fauja Singh on the Jalandhar-Pathankot highway has been arrested. Amritpal Singh Dillon, a 30-year-old NRI, was arrested 2 days after Singh, popularly known as Turban Tornado, suffered fatal head injuries in a hit-and-run accident while he was crossing the road at his native village near Jalandhar in Punjab. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired Union Cabinet in a meeting on Wednesday, approved the Prime Minister Dhanya Krishi Yojana, which was initially announced in the budget for 2025-26. The scheme aims to enhance agricultural productivity, increase crop diversification and sustainable agricultural practices, augment post-harvest storage, improve irrigation facilities and facilitate availability of credit. This program will help 1.7 crore farmers as per Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav. A financial outlay of Rs 24,000 crore will be earmarked per year at least for 6 years starting 2025-26. In the energy sector, India's Union Cabinet cleared major investments of Rs 20,000 crore in NTPC Green Energy Limited, aiming to scale up green capacity. India's Textiles Minister Giriraj Singh held a series of high-level meetings with major Japanese companies and inaugurated the 16th India Trend Fair 2025 in Tokyo. And in other news, to celebrate the station's 137-year legacy and its historic role in India's railway journey, Central Railway's Mumbai division on Wednesday hosted a special station Mahotsav at Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj terminus. In business, the BSE Sensex closed at 82,634.48, up 63.57 points. The NSE Nifty 50 ended at 25,212.05, gaining 16.25 points. The Indian rupee closed at 85.95 against the US dollar on Wednesday. India's overall exports rose by nearly 6% in the first quarter of the current financial year, reaching more than $210 billion compared to $198.52 billion in the same period of the last financial year. India's Commerce and Industry Ministry said both merchandise and service exports registered growth in the April-June 2025 period. India's imports registered a decline by 3.71% to $53.92 billion in June against $56 billion in the last year. The Indian Finance Ministry also informed that the trade deficit of the country stood at $18.78 billion in June this year. European stocks were mixed on Wednesday and Wall Street futures were down as traders were cautious about signs of US tariffs causing inflation. US Treasury yields rose after US consumer price data for June pointed to higher costs for some goods, prompting investors to scale back their expectations for US Federal Reserve rate cuts. The dollar edged down against the euro and yen on Wednesday after hitting multi-week highs the previous day. Against the yen, the greenback pulled back slightly to last trade at 148.91 yen. US President Donald Trump has announced that he had struck a trade pact with Indonesia. Indonesian goods entering the US now face a tariff of 19%, which is significantly below 32% that the president previously threatened. Reacting to the tariff announcement by Donald Trump, Indonesian leader Prabowo Subianto on Wednesday hailed a new era of mutual benefit with Washington. While the Indonesian president's spokesperson said that the country reached the trade deal with the US after extraordinary struggle to reduce the earlier proposed tariffs by the US. Meanwhile, the US president has revealed fresh details on planned duties on pharmaceutical imports, announcing that the US would proceed with the tariffs by the end of July. Further, Trump said that the duties on pharmaceuticals would start off with a low tariff rate to give companies time to move manufacturing to the US before imposing a very high tariff in a year or so. On trade deal with Vietnam, Trump said that a trade agreement with Vietnam was nearly complete. Trump said that he could release details of the Vietnam trade agreement but didn't think it was necessary. US President Donald Trump will meet Qatar's Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani on Wednesday to discuss negotiations over a Gaza ceasefire deal. Explosive-laden drones hit 3 oil fields in Iraq's northern autonomous Kurdistan region early Wednesday as per Kurdish forces, a day after a similar attack shut operations at a US-run field. Israel has intervened in Syria regarding the Druze population in Sweden, urging the Syrian government to leave the Druze alone and withdrawing its forces. Israel said it bombed Syrian army headquarters in Damascus on Wednesday after warning to leave the Druze minority alone in its Swida heartland, where a monitor says sectarian clashes have killed nearly 250 people. The US Defense Secretary has ordered the removal of 2,000 National Guard troops who had been deployed to Los Angeles to protect federal property and personnel during a series of protests last month, the Pentagon said. Los Angeles Mayor called the partial withdrawal of federal troops from the city an important victory following their controversial deployment to quell unrest after immigration raids. U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration agents seized more than $10 million in cryptocurrency linked to Mexico's Sinaloa cartel during raids that uncovered large quantities of fentanyl and other drugs. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has stated that his government supports the status quo for Taiwan as he continues his second visit to China as Prime Minister. Australian Prime Minister visited a section of Great Wall of China on the fourth day of his official trip to the country. The Labour Minister in Cuba resigned amid an uproar over her claim that people rummaging through garbage cans were only pretending to be poor and not truly desperate. More than 300 electric buses have been deployed in the Chilean capital as part of a government initiative to modernize public transport and reduce carbon emissions. Dozens of protesters gathered to voice anti-migrant sentiment in the Spanish town of Torre Pacheco, where Arabic businesses have been forced to remain closed after 4 days of unrest. Mexican firefighters have joined efforts to contain wildfires in central Canada. They are the largest group among approximately 160 international volunteer firefighters. A volcano erupted on Wednesday in southwest Iceland, authorities said. This is the latest in series of outbreaks near the capital in recent years. We are heading for a short break. We will be back with Express News in just a bit. Stay tuned.
This week on Defence Dynamics, we decode how mounted gun systems are powering India's artillery transformation. A detailed analysis of Astra, India's homegrown air-to-air missile that's now battle-ready. Prahar unveiled India sharpens its tactical edge. And a deep dive into India's military legacy, what makes it one of the world's most formidable defence forces. Stay tuned this Wednesday, 8 p.m. IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching Express News on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Let's resume. India recorded above normal rainfall so far this monsoon season, with the India Meteorological Department estimating cumulative precipitation at 109% of the long period average. This above normal rainfall is expected to continue, with India's Weather Office forecasting 106% of the long period average rainfall for the remainder of July. Natural disasters across China in the first half of 2025 brought direct economic losses of $7.55 billion and affected more than 23 million people, an official said on Tuesday. 2 people were killed in New Jersey during flash flooding as severe storms lashed the New York City area, submerging cars and flooding subway stations. A passenger bus in the northeastern U.S. state of New Jersey also captured dramatic footage of severe flooding on the streets of town of Gutenberg. A growing wildfire at the Grand Canyon's North Rim has charred at least 50 structures. Hundreds of firefighters working from the air and ground in Arizona are battling the so-called Dragon Bravo blaze. As wildfire smoke blankets the Toronto skyline, it raises concerns about air quality. Locals have also been urged to limit their outdoor activities. Heavy rain swept through central Moscow, bringing respite to locals from a heat wave and causing localized flooding in parts of the Russian capital. Water levels at Lebanon's largest reservoir on the Litani River have fallen to the historic lows amid what experts describe as the country's worst drought on record. The Litani River National Authority said inflows to Lake Karaun during this year's wet season did not exceed 45 million cubic meters, a fraction of the 350 million cubic meter annual average. Alphabet's Waymo robotaxis have driven more than 100 million miles without a human behind the wheel, doubling the mileage in about 6 months, a top company official said. Tesla is also expanding its self-driving taxi service after a small trial with about a dozen of its Model Y SUVs in a limited area of Austin, Texas last month. A UK-based firm plans to roll out a piloted flying taxi by 2028 in the country. The aircraft, named VX4, will run on electricity and is expected to operate at a price point similar to popular taxi services. Hindu devotees celebrated the annual Rath Yatra festival as vibrant hymns and the rhythm of traditional drums echoed through Amsterdam. Estonian athlete Jan Ruse has ticked off his latest slackline challenge, walking a line suspended between a flying parasail and a motorboat in the Maldives. Ruse's team built a bespoke bungee rigging system and introduced custom-controlled toggles to manage the parasail's movement. A new London exhibition takes fashionistas into the glamorous creative world of the late Italian designer Gianni Versace, showcasing his colorful designs for the catwalk and worn by celebrities. The Gianni Versace retrospective, which opens at Arches London Bridge on Wednesday, features more than 450 pieces designed by Versace. Researchers at Tel Aviv University said on Tuesday they had found evidence that plants and insects can interact through sound. The study suggests that female moths are able to detect ultrasonic distress signals emitted by dehydrated tomato plants and use this information to decide whether to lay their eggs. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz embraced Bavarian tradition while attending a meeting atop Germany's highest mountain, Zugspitze. Spaniard's summer favorite for combating heat, simple handheld fans are retaining their relevance thanks to designer creativity and increasingly oppressive temperatures fueled by climate change. A collection of ancient Aboriginal rock art in Western Australia has at last been granted World Heritage status. The Murujuga cultural landscape is home to more than 1 million rock carvings, some dating back 50,000 years. In Changchun, the Jilin Provincial Art Museum opened an exhibition displaying over 100 pieces of shellfish carvings. The art form involves artists using shells to carve designs such as flowers, birds, and insects. The British actor Jason Isaac has been nominated for the first time for the Outstanding Support Actor in a Drama Series category titled White Lotus. Warner Brothers has commenced the production of new Harry Potter series featuring a brand new cast and a 10-year journey ahead. US singer Bruno Mars joined rows of superstar group Blackpink on stage in Los Angeles. Ariana Grande and Josh Gad are geared up to voice the lead roles in Oh, the Places You'll Go. The film sheds light on a young adventurer navigating the ups and downs of life. Pop star Rihanna attended the launch of the new animated film Smurfs on July 13 at the Paramount Pictures in Hollywood. She voices the lead role of the Smurfette. It was officially announced that actors Saif Ali Khan and Akshay Kumar are reuniting on screen after 17 years. The duo will share the screen in the upcoming film Haiwan. Bridging borders through cinema, Japan Society hosts Film Festival. Japan Cuts in New York. It celebrates the past year of contemporary Japanese films, showing 30 films over 10 days. Hollywood star Cameron Diaz makes a comeback after nearly a decade with Netflix's action comedy Bad Day, to be directed by Jake Szymanski. Giorgio Armani showed his latest Privé Haute Couture collection at the label's Gilded Paris headquarters on Tuesday, displaying black velvet evening wear with shimmery touches on the runway. Held at the label's sprawling mansion in the heart of the wealthy Triangle d'Or neighborhood of Paris, the show featured classic Armani silhouettes. In men's singles, Lakshya Sen brushed aside China's Wang Zhengjing to advance into the second round of the Japan Open. Indian doubles pair Satvik Sairaj, Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty sail into the second round of Super 750 event with a commanding straight game win. Meanwhile, PV Sindhu's campaign ended with a straight game defeat against Korea's Sim Yoo Jin in the first round. England women's cricket team has won the toss and opted to bat in the first one-day international match against India in Southampton. Indian opener Shafali Verma has moved back into the top 10 of ICC Women's T20 Internationals player rankings. King Charles met with members of Indian men's and women's cricket teams in London. England's batter Joe Root has reclaimed the top spot in the ICC men's test batting rankings. The England team has been dogged 2 World Test Championship points for maintaining a slow over rate in the third test against India. After missing 4 years of tests due to injury, England pacer Jofra Archer is keen to play the final 2 tests against India and the Ashes series in Australia later this year. The International Olympic Committee announced that the T20 cricket competitions for the men's and women's categories at 2028 Summer Games will run from 12th to 29th of July. Organizers of the 2026 Winter Olympics have unveiled the medals that will be awarded to the athletes during the Games next year. Indian women's hockey team forward Deepika has become the first Indian player to win the prestigious Polygraph's Magic Skill Award. The India A men's hockey team suffered their second consecutive defeat on their European tour, losing 2-3 to England in the Netherlands. Barcelona star Lamine Yamal faces an investigation regarding the presence of a group of people with dwarfism as entertainers at his 18th birthday party. Atletico Madrid has agreed to sign Argentine midfielder Thiago Almada from Brazilian club Botafogo. Alright, that's it in this edition of Express News. You stay tuned because news and updates will continue on DD India.